Did you know that you can launch a podcast using AI in minutes with Google Notebook LM? And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that step by step and introduce you to 4 different podcast styles you can create to stand out from the crowd. I'm the Techpreneur. Let's dive in. But first, what exactly is Google Notebook LM? It's basically a tool that lets you interact with your notes and you can ask it questions, you can come up with ideas. That's the short nutshell version. Now, let's start with the podcast. First, how do you actually create a podcast with Google Note? Create a new notebook, paste in the source, and you paste in the link. Once you paste it in the link, it'll take a couple of minutes to generate. If you go to the right-hand side, click on generate. It does take a few minutes to generate. Before we start listening in, you can give them feedback if you like it or if you don't like it, and you can also download it as well. So like changing payback speed, and you can also delete.
Today, we're diving into heat pumps. We're talking about heat pumps that ditch the refrigerant.
That is how to create a podcast using the Google Notebook LM. As you saw, it was pretty easy. All you have to do is click on the generate link and it automatically generates for you. And the second example is coming right up. For the second example, we're going to be creating a podcast from an article focused on providing the best value within the podcast. We're choosing is 9 tips on how to create a great cold calling culture. Once you head over to the audio area, click on customize, and in the customize box you can tell the AI what you want the podcast to be about. It's up to you really. Ask it to make the podcast under 5 minutes and give it a comedic flair. The page will look like this for a bit.
I think it's safe to say that none of us are exactly jumping for joy at the thought of cold calling.
Yeah, pretty safe bet there.
That was the first example. That it gave good examples from the article itself, and it made it a bit funny from what I told it. But the second example is going to be really interesting. Stay tuned. The next example that we're going to be looking at is a TV show review. Reviewing TV shows is probably one of the biggest podcasts out there right now. So this is a great example for this. Do the usual, paste it in. If we give it a second to process, if we go in here to customize, let's make the conversation really sassy. Also, let's see if we can actually generate something that's under 5 minutes. This is going to be interesting. Let's listen in.
Okay, so get this. We're diving into a review of Sisterhood Above All.
Oh yeah, the 3rd episode of Dune, Prophecy, right?
You got it, and let me tell you, this review does not hold back.
That was the second example. Did make it under 10 minutes, but not under 5 minutes. The conversation was quite sassy. Really just all about changing the prompt. But the third example is coming right up. Looking at a science article, and with a twist this time. Say we're going to give it a British accent. I'm going to see if accents work, and I'm going to, again, just give it an interesting prompt example, as you'll see now. And if we customize, let's give it a British accent. Let's also make the conversation highly academic as well. Let's find out how British this is. I'm not good at faking accents.
Right then, shall we? Today we find ourselves at the very edges of the universe, by the James Webb, of course.
Of course.
Now this one's a bit of a head-scratcher, you see. A black hole, hundreds of millions of times the mass of our own sun. But seemingly, well, almost dormant. A bit of an odd one. What'd you say?
Indeed, it really does throw into question some of our fundamental understandings of how these celestial objects
I actually am tempted to just keep listening because of how good it is. Although the accent is not 100% British, it is quite academic. It keeps you going, basically. You want to keep listening. And that's the beauty of it. There's so many prompts that you can keep trying and to get different results. So look, I can't really wait to show you guys the last one now. For the last example, we're going to be doing a social commentary one, and it's going to be all about brain rot in Singapore. Copy and paste the URL. Let's customize it and let's make it for Gen Z. Right, let's see what we get. So we're asking it to use Gen Z talk, which whatever it is these days. Let's give it a minute and come back. That took a solid maybe 20 minutes.
So we've talked about decluttering our feeds, setting boundaries, finding balance, and being mindful of the content we consume. What else can we do to, level up our social media game and make sure it's not actually rotting our brains?
One thing we haven't touched on yet, the importance of creating.
Ooh, interesting. You mean actually making our own content?
Exactly. Instead of just consuming, what if we flipped the script and started creating?
I think they did a good job. I don't feel like they're actually speaking in a language for Gen Z because I don't know what they actually talk about, and I don't personally use TikTok either. But overall, it's a pretty good podcast. I think like it was pretty lighthearted while keeping on the topic, and anyone can join in as well. So yeah, this was the last example. Overall, what did you guys really think about like the podcast style examples I showed you? Which one was your favorite? Which one was not your favorite? How do you think the technology will look like in a few years down the line? Let me know down in the comments below. And hey, if you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching.